This week's Torah reading mentions a warning of sorts, a requirement that you not behave in certain ways. But it doesn't actually specify what they are. It says you should not act like the way they did in Egypt, which you just left, nor should you act like the way the nations in Canaan, where you're headed, do. What's the point? Look, Egypt, you saw the way they acted. You were there, you experienced it, you observed it firsthand. You know the way they acted. Canaan, on the other hand, you haven't been there yet. You've heard stories, maybe. Or maybe it's just a warning. Maybe you haven't heard stories, but trust me, you're going to see some nasty stuff. Don't imitate it. In some ways, Canaan is the more important of the warnings, because your imagination's running wild. You have no idea what to expect. It could be anything. And that which is new can sometimes be enticing. On the other hand, Egypt is familiar. However unpleasant it was, it's familiar. And sometimes the familiar can be enticing. That's the thing, you can get used to anything, no matter how bad it is. When you live in it, you don't really notice as much. And I guess that's kind of the warning here. Remember how familiar you got with Egypt? Well, don't let yourself get too familiar in Canaan either, to expect that this is what's normal. Don't let it become normal for you. Don't ever get used to it. Don't accept it. Don't become complacent. And maybe that's the biggest lesson here. The fact that something's familiar should not be equated with the fact that something is okay. Shabbat Shalom.